Hello everyone, Dr. Allan Mandell here. Welcome back to my channel, Science of Healing. As we get older, one of the most common concerns I hear is this: Doctor, my memory isn't what it used to be. Names slip away, focus fades, sleep doesn't feel as restorative. And many people believe this is just a normal part of aging. But the truth is, your brain is constantly repairing itself, especially while you sleep, if you give it the right raw materials. Tonight I want to share something very simple, very natural, and very powerful. These are 3 fruits that support brain cell repair, protect memory, and enhance nighttime brain recovery, particularly important for seniors. And I'll explain why they work, what the science shows, and how to use them in daily life without overcomplicating things. Let's start with the first fruit. At this very moment, inside your brain, billions of tiny electrical signals are firing, memories are being stitched together, and damaged cells are either being repaired or quietly lost forever. For seniors, this invisible battle decides whether tomorrow brings clarity or confusion, sharp recall, or frustrating forgetfulness. And what most people don't realize is that one small fruit, often overlooked, has been shown in study after study to slow this decline, protect brain cells, and even help the aging brain repair itself while you sleep. That fruit is the blueberry. As we age, the brain becomes increasingly vulnerable to oxidative stress. This is not a theory. By age 60, the human brain consumes nearly 20% of the body's oxygen, yet has relatively low antioxidant defenses. That imbalance creates free radicals, unstable molecules that damage neurons, disrupt communication between brain cells, and accelerate memory loss. Scientists now know that this oxidative damage accumulates silently for years before symptoms like brain fog, slower thinking, and short-term memory problems appear. By the time people notice these changes, millions of neurons have already been compromised. Blueberries enter this story in a remarkable way. They are one of the richest natural sources of anthocyanins, the deep blue pigments that give blueberries their color. These compounds are not just antioxidants, they are neuroprotective agents. Research published in journals such as the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry has shown that anthocyanins can cross the blood-brain barrier, something very few dietary compounds can do. Once inside the brain, they begin neutralizing free radicals at the source, directly protecting neurons from oxidative death. But the story doesn't stop there. Aging brains don't just suffer from damage, they suffer from poor communication. Neurons talk to each other through synapses, and with age, these connections weaken. Studies from Tufts University demonstrated that older adults who regularly consume blueberries showed improved neuronal signaling, particularly in brain regions associated with memory and learning. In animal studies, aging rats fed a blueberry-rich diet performed as well as much younger rats on memory tests. That is not an exaggeration. It is a documented reversal of age-related cognitive decline. Now, here is where sleep changes everything. During deep sleep, the brain activates a waste removal network known as the glymphatic system. This system flushes out toxic proteins such as beta amyloid and tau, both strongly associated with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. As we age, this cleaning process becomes less efficient. Inflammation narrows pathways, oxidative stress slows fluid movement, and waste begins to accumulate. Blueberries reduce this inflammation and oxidative load, allowing the brain's nightly cleanup crew to work more effectively. In simple terms, blueberries help the brain clean itself better while you sleep. One of the most shocking findings in neuroscience is that memory is not formed during the day. It is consolidated at night. During slow-wave sleep, the hippocampus replays the day's experiences, strengthening important connections and pruning unnecessary ones. Oxidative stress and inflammation interfere with this process, causing fragmented memories and mental fatigue. Blueberries, by calming neuroinflammation, support this nocturnal memory consolidation. This is why consistent intake is far more powerful than occasional use. The brain responds to patterns, not one-time events. There is also the issue of blood flow. Aging blood vessels become stiff, reducing circulation to delicate brain tissue. Reduced blood flow means less oxygen, fewer nutrients, and slower repair. Blueberries have been shown to improve endothelial function, the ability of blood vessels to dilate and contract properly. Improved circulation means that while you sleep, oxygen and glucose are delivered efficiently to neurons that are actively repairing DNA, rebuilding membranes, and restoring neurotransmitter balance. Another lesser known but critical factor is insulin sensitivity in the brain. Many seniors are unaware that memory loss is strongly associated with insulin resistance, sometimes referred to as type 3 diabetes. When brain cells become resistant to insulin, they struggle to use glucose for energy, leading to cognitive fatigue and neuron death. Blueberries help improve insulin sensitivity, reducing glycation damage and allowing brain cells to fuel their nighttime repair processes more efficiently. Inflammation is perhaps the most dangerous silent driver of brain aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation damages synapses, shrinks brain volume, and accelerates neurodegenerative diseases. Blueberries contain polyphenols that downregulate inflammatory markers such as TNF-alpha and interleukin-6. Lower inflammation at night means the brain can focus on repair instead of defense. This is not speculation. Inflammatory markers have been shown to decrease in individuals consuming blueberries regularly over several weeks. What makes blueberries especially powerful for seniors is their safety and accessibility. Unlike supplements that may interact with medications or stress the liver, blueberries work gently through food-based signaling pathways the body recognizes. They do not overstimulate the brain, they protect it, and this protection accumulates over time. The timing matters more than most people realize. Consuming blueberries in the evening, several hours before sleep, allows antioxidant levels to peak during the brain's repair window. During sleep, neurons activate genes responsible for cellular maintenance, antioxidant defense, and synaptic remodeling. Blueberry compounds enhance the expression of these protective genes, essentially giving the brain better tools to heal itself. Another shocking fact is that brain shrinkage is not inevitable. While some volume loss occurs with age, studies have shown that diets rich in flavonoids, including those found in blueberries, are associated with preserved hippocampal volume. The hippocampus is the memory center of the brain, and its shrinkage strongly predicts dementia. Preserving its structure means preserving identity, independence, and quality of life. Blueberries also influence neurotransmitters. Dopamine and acetylcholine, both critical for focus and memory, decline with age. Oxidative stress accelerates their breakdown. Blueberry polyphenols protect these neurotransmitters, improving mental clarity and recall. This is why many seniors report feeling mentally lighter or more alert after several weeks of consistent intake. Even mood is part of this equation. Depression and anxiety worsen memory and sleep quality. Blueberries have been shown to reduce markers of psychological stress and improve mood through their effect on neuroinflammation and gut-brain signaling. A calmer brain sleeps deeper. A deeper sleep repairs memory more effectively. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from long-term population studies. Adults who consumed higher amounts of berries showed delayed cognitive aging by up to 2.5 years compared to those who did not. That means sharper thinking, better recall, and greater independence for longer. Those years matter. What makes this even more powerful is how little is required. A small bowl, a handful, frozen or fresh, no sugar, no processing, just consistency. The brain does not need extremes. It needs steady protection. While you sleep tonight, your brain will decide what to keep and what to let go. It will repair what it can with the resources you've given it. Blueberries don't force change. They support the brain's natural intelligence. They protect the cells that hold your memories, your experiences, your sense of self. This is not about chasing youth. It is about preserving function, protecting clarity, giving the brain what it needs to heal itself night after night, quietly, powerfully, naturally. And the most remarkable part is this: the process begins with a simple choice made today. While blueberries protect the brain from damage, there is another fruit that does something just as critical but far more fundamental. It rebuilds, it nourishes, it restores the physical structure that allows your brain cells to communicate, remember, and survive the passage of time. And for seniors, this process happens most powerfully while you sleep. That fruit is the avocado. Your brain is not just an electrical organ. It is a biological structure made largely of fat. Nearly 60% of the brain's dry weight is fat, and every thought, every memory, every signal depends on the integrity of fatty structures that insulate and protect neurons. As we age, these structures slowly break down. The protective coating around nerve fibers, known as the myelin sheath, begins to thin and fragment. When that happens, signals slow down, memory weakens, reaction time drops, focus fades. This is not psychological aging, it is physical deterioration. Avocados supply something most aging brains are desperately lacking: high-quality monounsaturated fats that the body can actually use to maintain and repair neural tissue. These fats are not stored as waste. They are incorporated into cell membranes, strengthening them and improving flexibility. Flexible membranes allow neurons to send signals faster and more accurately. That is why diets rich in healthy fats are consistently associated with better cognitive performance in older adults. One of the most overlooked threats to brain health in seniors is reduced blood flow. Aging arteries become stiff and narrow, limiting oxygen delivery to the brain. Even a slight reduction in cerebral blood flow can impair memory and increase the risk of cognitive decline. Avocados improve endothelial function, which means they help blood vessels relax and expand. Better blood flow during sleep delivers oxygen and nutrients precisely when brain cells are repairing DNA damage, restoring membranes, and balancing neurotransmitters. Vitamin E plays a critical role here. Avocados are one of the most bioavailable sources of vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that embeds itself directly into cell membranes. Once there, it acts like a shield, protecting brain cells from oxidative damage caused by free radicals. Oxidative stress is one of the strongest predictors of neurodegeneration. Studies have shown that seniors with higher vitamin E intake perform better on memory and cognitive tests and experience slower functional decline. But the real power of avocados emerges at night. During sleep, the brain enters a state of active maintenance. Contrary to popular belief, the brain is not resting. It is repairing synapses, clearing waste, and reorganizing memory networks. This work requires enormous energy and stable metabolic conditions. Blood sugar spikes disrupt this process. Insulin resistance interferes with neuronal energy use. Avocados help stabilize blood glucose levels, preventing nighttime metabolic stress that damages neurons over time. There's a shocking connection between memory loss and insulin resistance. Researchers now refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes because impaired insulin signaling in the brain leads to neuron starvation and death. Avocados improve insulin sensitivity, reducing glycation damage and allowing brain cells to efficiently use glucose during sleep. This directly supports memory consolidation and long-term cognitive resilience. Avocados also contain lutein, a carotenoid that accumulates in brain tissue. Lutein has been shown to enhance neural efficiency, meaning the brain can perform the same tasks using less effort. In seniors, higher lutein levels are associated with better processing speed and memory performance. What makes this especially powerful is that lutein works synergistically with healthy fats, and avocados provide both in a form the body easily absorbs. Another silent driver of cognitive decline is chronic inflammation. Low-grade inflammation slowly erodes synapses and shrinks brain volume. Avocados contain anti-inflammatory compounds that reduce markers like C-reactive protein and inflammatory cytokines. Lower inflammation means the brain can shift from survival mode into repair mode during sleep. Repair only happens when the brain feels safe at a cellular level. Sleep itself is deeply affected by nutrition. Poor fat intake disrupts hormone balance, including melatonin production. Avocados support the synthesis of hormones and neurotransmitters involved in sleep regulation. Better sleep depth means more time spent in slow-wave sleep, the stage where memories are stabilized and brain cells regenerate their internal structures. One of the most alarming facts about aging brains is that shrinkage of key regions like the hippocampus predicts dementia years before symptoms appear. However, this shrinkage is not fixed. Diets rich in monounsaturated fats are associated with preserved brain volume and slower cognitive aging. Avocados don't reverse time, but they slow the erosion of the structures that hold your memories. What makes avocados especially important for seniors is how gently they work. They do not overstimulate the nervous system. They do not force chemical reactions. They provide building blocks the brain recognizes and knows how to use. This is nutrition aligned with biology. Timing matters. Eating avocado with dinner or in the early evening allows fatty acids and fat-soluble nutrients to circulate during the brain's overnight repair window. While you sleep, neurons rebuild membranes, reinforce synapses, and restore electrical stability. Avocados supply the raw materials for that work. Mood is also part of cognitive health. Depression and anxiety accelerate memory loss and disrupt sleep. Healthy fats support neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which regulate mood and motivation. Seniors who consume adequate healthy fats often report improved emotional stability, which further enhances sleep quality and cognitive repair. Perhaps the most striking evidence comes from long-term dietary studies. Older adults who consistently consume diets rich in monounsaturated fats show slower cognitive decline, better executive function, and greater independence later in life. These are not abstract benefits. They determine whether someone remembers names, manages daily tasks, and maintains quality of life. And the amount needed is surprisingly small: half an avocado a day, mashed, sliced, blended, no supplements, no extremes, just consistency. The brain responds not to excess, but to steady support. While you sleep tonight, your brain will rebuild what it can. It will strengthen connections that matter and let go of those that don't. The materials you provide determine how well that process unfolds. Avocados do not promise miracles. They support the quiet, relentless work of repair that keeps memory alive. The most powerful changes are often the simplest, and sometimes preserving the mind begins with nourishing the structure that holds it together. Every night, while your body lies still, your brain enters the most important phase of its entire day. This is the moment when memories are locked in, damaged cells are repaired, and toxic waste is cleared away. And for seniors, this nightly process determines whether the brain stays sharp or slowly slips into decline. What most people never realize is that one small fruit can dramatically influence how deeply you sleep and how powerfully your brain repairs itself during those hours. That fruit is the kiwi. Sleep is not rest for the brain, it is intensive maintenance. During deep sleep, the brain activates systems that simply do not function while you are awake. One of the most critical is the glymphatic system, a waste removal network that flushes out neurotoxins such as beta amyloid and tau proteins. These proteins are strongly linked to Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. As we age, sleep becomes lighter, shorter, and more fragmented. When that happens, this cleanup system fails to do its job. Waste accumulates, inflammation rises, memory suffers. Here is the shocking fact: chronic poor sleep can shrink the brain faster than aging itself. Studies have shown that even one night of disrupted sleep increases beta amyloid levels in the brain. Imagine what years of poor sleep do. This is why improving sleep quality is one of the most powerful ways to protect memory, and kiwis directly support this process. Kiwis contain naturally occurring serotonin and compounds that support serotonin production. Serotonin is not just a mood chemical, it is the precursor to melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. Without adequate serotonin, melatonin production drops, sleep becomes shallow, and the brain never fully enters its repair stages. Clinical studies have shown that adults who consumed 2 kiwis about 1 hour before bed fell asleep faster, slept longer, and experienced significantly better sleep efficiency. Sleep efficiency matters more than total sleep time. A person can spend 8 hours in bed and still fail to reach the deep stages where memory is consolidated. Kiwis increase time spent in slow-wave sleep, the phase where the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, replays and strengthens important neural connections. This is when short-term experiences become long-term memories. Without this process, learning fades and recall weakens. Vitamin C plays a powerful supporting role here. Kiwis are one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C, a nutrient essential for neurotransmitter synthesis and antioxidant defense. The brain is extremely sensitive to oxidative stress, especially at night when repair processes are active. Vitamin C protects neurons from oxidative damage while supporting the production of dopamine and norepinephrine, chemicals involved in attention and memory. Seniors with higher vitamin C levels consistently perform better on cognitive tests. Another overlooked benefit of kiwis is their impact on inflammation. Chronic inflammation disrupts sleep architecture, causing frequent awakenings and reduced deep sleep. Kiwis contain polyphenols and flavonoids that reduce inflammatory markers. Lower inflammation allows the brain to move smoothly through sleep cycles without interruption. This uninterrupted sleep is when the brain does its most important work. Blood sugar stability is another critical factor. Many seniors unknowingly disrupt their sleep with nighttime glucose spikes. High blood sugar increases cortisol, a stress hormone that interferes with melatonin and keeps the brain in a semi-alert state. Kiwis have a relatively low glycemic load and contain fiber that slows sugar absorption. This prevents nighttime metabolic stress, allowing the brain to fully power down into restorative sleep. There is also a strong connection between sleep and emotional memory. Poor sleep increases anxiety, depression, and emotional reactivity, all of which impair cognitive performance. Kiwis have been shown to improve mood and reduce psychological stress, likely through their effect on serotonin and antioxidant pathways. A calmer emotional state before bed leads to deeper sleep and stronger memory consolidation. One of the most alarming discoveries in neuroscience is that memory loss often begins years before symptoms appear, driven by subtle sleep disturbances. Seniors may believe they are sleeping enough, but fragmented sleep quietly erodes brain health. Kiwis address this at the root by improving sleep onset, duration, and depth, all without medication. Unlike sleeping pills, which sedate the brain and suppress natural sleep architecture, kiwis support the body's own sleep chemistry. Sedation is not sleep. True sleep follows a precise rhythm, and kiwis help restore that rhythm naturally. This distinction is critical because only natural sleep triggers the brain's repair systems. Another surprising benefit of kiwis is their effect on the gut-brain axis. The gut produces a significant portion of the body's serotonin. Kiwis support gut health through fiber and bioactive compounds, indirectly enhancing brain chemistry. A healthier gut leads to better sleep, which leads to better memory. This loop is especially important in older adults, whose gut microbiome often becomes less diverse. The timing of kiwi consumption is crucial. Eating 2 kiwis about 1 hour before bed aligns their peak biological activity with the brain's transition into sleep. During this window, melatonin rises, cortisol falls, and neural repair begins. Kiwis amplify this transition, smoothing the brain's descent into deep sleep. Over time, the benefits compound. Better sleep leads to better waste removal. Better waste removal leads to lower inflammation. Lower inflammation preserves synapses. Preserved synapses protect memory. This is not an overnight miracle. It is a nightly investment that pays dividends over months and years. Long-term observational studies show that individuals with consistently good sleep quality experience slower cognitive decline and reduced risk of dementia. Improving sleep is not optional for brain health. It is foundational, and Kiwis are one of the simplest, safest tools available to support this foundation. What makes this so powerful is how accessible it is. No prescription, no side effects, no dependency, just a small natural fruit that works with your biology, not against it. 2 Kiwis, a simple habit, a profound impact. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, your brain will decide what memories to keep, what connections to strengthen, and what damage to repair. The depth of that process depends on how well you sleep. Kiwis don't force the brain to rest, they invite it. And in that invitation, the brain finds the time it needs to heal, protect memory, and quietly preserve who you are.